Hello. So my name's Aaron, and I want to go about this interview, basically reviewing the person that I am now through my Carroll experience. Coming into Carroll as a very different person than what I am now. I think a lot of the values that I came in with as like from my parents as well as my grade school and education have really expanded upon with Carroll through my courses like with recently such as like with the Waukesha tragedy at the parade. You can see a lot of the caring community, not just from the nursing students, but as well as the community of students have come together to raise money and just try to support the people who are affected as well as each other, and really coming together and seeing how it's just that, not just caring for each other when we need help on an assignment or a project. It's actually being there for each other when we need help, even if you don't know the person. I think even I've been in the case where I asked by random people, whether it's student, staff, or someone who needs help, and usually I'm either always willing to help or they'll help me, and that's something that is continually being shown. Not something you might get at another university, at something much larger, because a lot of people are connected to one another and you keep finding new connections. And something that you can see that connections wise is not just through people itself, but through the liberal arts academic offering that Carroll offers through through your main major program, as well as your other electives and minors and core, which is kind of like it's taking all of which is essentially integrated knowledge. And that when like when I have a marketing major, but then I'm taking courses in theater and history and and philosophy. And some of those classes are normally ones I wouldn't take. I don't want to be a philosophy. It's too much writing. Theater, I'm not one to normally be an extrovert or be willing to talk to a lot of people. But when I took those courses, I can see a lot kind of drug me out of my shell and kind of made me realize what I wanted to be, like what I like to do. Being a writer of theater, having to write a script for a play for people I never met before, showed me that I actually do really like writing, even if it's not a play. I even tried to write a play myself. And it's kind of shown that now when I'm taking my marketing classes, and I'm seeing the different ways it works, like you would in a play, the action, the play, the set, and how the characters move. It's same thing with the marketing plan, seeing how all the pieces fit, and everything that you write about is essentially its own actor. And I think and then beyond that, take this knowledge, and when like with my internship that I have with an college esports conference, that I've seen taking all the lessons I have from there and applying it, and when people are like seeing the response and seeing like with Carol, a lot of professors and people you contact, they're always willing to talk, whether it's just a short brief moment or willing to sit down maybe for like a coffee or something. And you're able to see, like, now I'm able to communicate with hundreds of players and coaches almost daily, and it's something that I never thought I would have been prepared for. I would have been scared to do, but now I've really grown into that role because of that knowledge of everything is not as bad as it's supposed to be, but all these classes are teaching you how to communicate with other people in a different formats and thinking, not just being stuck in one way or what format you are. Like if you're thinking your marketing major, but I can easily hold a conversation with someone from physical therapy or who might be a nursing major or someone who's an English major, and even though I don't like writing itself, like the length of it, it's I can continually apply that knowledge to different areas of life, and I can see that beyond when I'm applying to jobs and seeing what's your background, and I'm able to think about all the different experiences that I've had. And I think that's also it really relates to these lifelong skills. I think one of the biggest lessons that I had was with my communication 101s class, and I'm terrible at public speaking, and doing this video and like video interview now is something I really don't like doing, especially watching it back, because it's you kind of have to hear yourself and think and actually speak beyond just in private conversations. And that class really taught me to not care as much or let the anxiety or fear of public speaking actually take hold of it, and kind of be more loose and kind of just be willing to talk to people and just see if people see that you're like presenting as yourself and you're not like practice, like you don't feel like practice, you don't feel robotic, people kind of feel more related to you because they know the struggle and they don't want to be in your position, or they've been in your position before. And kind of that skill is kind of leading also to like with like job interviews now, as I'm a graduating senior in the spring, and you kind of get to see what people, when they're asking you, and it gets more and more comfortable speaking, especially in public and to groups of people, as over time, like you would in a class with 24 people, which you're getting through the entire semester. But then you're kind of shorting that process when you're talking to like a group of a group, an individual or team, and you have to make a ruling, or when you're doing an actual job site and you're talking to a group of campers or clients who are staying on campus at Carroll, and you kind of get to direct them and kind of be more, showcase yourself, as well as be brave in a sense and be willing to stand your ground, like not stand your ground, but stand for yourself. I think a lot of these, just like going back to those enduring values, is really something that I really thought I've been thinking almost upon, is how I always just used to do things for myself in a sense that would preserve myself, but I continually find myself wanting to either help other people, or kind of just see what I can do to improve the community around me, whether that's through the School of Business and trying to be an active leader as well as student and give professors input, and kind of seeing the values that they also bring to Carroll and then adopting those myself, because there's things that you never think about, especially in a small school. Like when you go to a small school, you really get to learn people and learn their values and adapt it to your own. Your values are constantly adapting and changing over time. They don't get stuck in one thing. A lot of people, some people might get their values from such things as like the Bible or a piece of text or a video or their ancestors. And I think when you're at Carroll, you kind of take that, but it's compacting it, because you're continually forced in a way, or like invited to actually look at values and examine them and see where may you've fallen short, or how it can actually benefit others or yourself, because sometimes values are only good at that time. And I think another thing is like a lot of the gateway experience, like all these classes in their own are gateway experiences, but I think one of the biggest ones that it was outside of the academic course is when I went on through with our outdoor adventure club on campus, and they went to Devil's Lake. I'm personally never one to want to go out to nature. I'd rather be inside or somewhere cold, especially but when it's like the summer and it's hot, and I would be anywhere else. I'd be in Alaska if I could. But when we went to Devil's Lake, we woke up at 6 a.m. and I'd only go to bed at 2 a.m. But like for that day, and then we went, and on that trip it was a long bus ride, but once we got there, it was like seeing an entirely new world. And from that, we spent a few hours there, and I climbed or walked up this stone path all the way to this almost essentially a mountain, and I'm looking down, and it's just thinking, they feel so small, but at the same time, it just really expanded my mind and made me realize how much I actually really love nature. And hopefully one day down the line, or if not soon, that I get to work within nature. And it's kind of getting that experience to expanding your mind and going through it. And like the other thing, like experience, like gateway experiences, is getting to go to do a few trips down to Chicago from here into Milwaukee, and kind of actually getting to see the local community in a light that's more than just like say food, or you're going on vacation, especially with these cultural courses, like actually integrating yourself into the community and seeing what it is about and the people who are daily experiences what you're actually witnessing. And I think that's something I constantly think about. And when I go to places, it's not just thinking, oh, what can I do, as much as one day as what can I actually do and then enjoy the value of. And I think over time, Carroll I keep thinking, why didn't I transfer out? And as soon as I started thinking that, I think about everything I've just mentioned and more, and the people that I've met, and it's something that, you don't, like, there might be better programs or more facilities somewhere, but it's the values and the people and the connections, the experiences in the classroom and the skills, and it's everything that comes together that really creates not just a Carroll experience, but that growth in students and myself, and see how I can help others grow, because life is a constant change and journey of growing and change and evolving, and not just maturing, but really just adapting and not staying in one place. I think that's the biggest thing I could probably take away. And I think if someone is looking at Carroll or if they're thinking upon their time at Carroll, I think they really should look at the four pillars of Carroll House and kind of really break it down, not just like if you were to write a simple 5 sentence answer, and but like really actually reflect upon it and think, what did I actually come in at? Who did I come in as? And who did I come out as? And how is that continually changing me? Because that portion of life, whether how short or long you spent at Carroll, is going to continually affect you and inspire you and influence your decisions in life.